Hi, my name is Mark Endo, and I'll be presenting our work for CVPR 2026 titled Downscaling Intelligence, Exploring Perception and Reasoning Bottlenecks in Small Multimodal Models. So as a quick motivation, as I'm sure you all know, scaling up multimodal models has enabled remarkable advances in visual understanding and reasoning. But practical demands call for smaller, efficient systems. However, the consequences of downscaling intelligence remain poorly understood, namely when smaller language models serve as the backbone, which capabilities degrade most and why. And in this work, we systematically investigate how downscaling LLM size impacts multimodal model behavior in order to first understand their practical limitations, second, uncover the mechanisms behind their failures, and third, develop targeted solutions to improve their performance. So to start off, we conduct a controlled study to examine how reducing language model size impacts multimodal model task performance, where we train on each task and only vary the LLM size during training. As shown on the left, we find that tasks with largest performance drops under LLM downscaling rely heavily on visual processing, such as grounding, perceptual similarity, and multi-image VQA tasks. And extending the analysis to the full set of datasets, on the right, we plot the performance drop-off from downscaling versus visual reliance of the task, as measured by the drop in accuracy from removing the visual input. And here we find a positive correlation, where the greater the impact of LLM downscaling, the more the task relies on visual information to be solved. In the next section, we aim to understand the reason behind this observed trend. Namely, vision-centric tasks generally require two essential capabilities. The first is perception, which is the foundational ability to recognize, extract, and understand visual details. And the second is reasoning, which is the downstream ability to operate on extracted visual information to formulate answers. Thus, here we aim to disentangle these two capabilities. And to do this, we adopt a decoupled framework, where each question is answered in two stages. First, a perception stage, which extracts visual relevant information, and second, a reasoning stage to reason and generate the final answer. And using this setup, we independently downscale the LLM in each module to measure how the two abilities are affected by the LLM size. And we find that while LLM downscaling expectedly impairs visual reasoning, isolating its impact solely on perception still reveals severe performance degradation across a wide range of tasks, often matching or exceeding its effect on reasoning. And we hypothesize that this perception bottleneck arises from a foundational limitation of the visual instruction tuning paradigm under LLM downscaling. Namely, visual instruction tuning exposes the model to various ways of recognizing, understanding, and extracting visual information. And we posit that this variability requires the model to acquire diverse skills for interpreting instructions and extracting the relevant visual information. So having shown that LLM downscaling weakens both foundational perception and downstream reasoning, we conclude by proposing solutions that address these limitations and move towards a high-performing generalist small multimodal model. And for this, we focus our efforts on the two-stage framework as it provides a modular approach to study and improve each bottleneck. So first, we propose visual extraction tuning as a solution to unify the perceptual abilities of the perception module while enabling it to extract question-relevant information and operate effectively across the diverse domains present in visual instruction tuning. So provided visual instruction tuning data, we design a simple pipeline that transfers this data to the task of visual extraction, where the goal is to generate all visual information relevant to answering the instruction, aligning precisely with the role of the perception stage in the two-stage framework. And we find that post-training under the visual extraction tuning paradigm offers large performance improvements over the captioning baseline on both in-domain and out-of-domain data, thus proving an effective solution for alleviating the perception bottleneck of small multimodal models. And next, we move on to reasoning, where in the two-stage framework, text bridges perception and reasoning, enabling chain of thought reasoning over the visual details without requiring explicit visual reasoning supervision. And we find that incorporating chain of thought boosts visual reasoning capabilities, though we note that it doesn't fully resolve the reasoning bottleneck. Lastly, we present our final approach, extract and think. Specifically here, we employ the perception module trained under our proposed visual extraction tuning paradigm and a reasoning module enhanced with chain of thought reasoning. And we find that this approach largely outperforms decoupled baselines and even competes with end-to-end models trained at vast scale. Thank you very much for listening.